What's up, my fellow frilly folk? It is I, the Bard in Bows, and today we are refurbishing a damaged, angelic, pretty, melty cream donut JSK in mint. I am incredibly excited for this dress. It's something that's sort of been on my mind print-wise for a while, and when I saw the damage listing, I decided to wait on it until it got to a price that really would make the work worth it. To be honest, it feels almost kind of illegal how little I got this dress for, but that's beside the point. So there are a couple of major damage points that were very, very clear in the listing. Number one, the crushed velvet shoulder bows had a lot of deterioration on the tails of the bows. Unfortunately, because it's velvet, there's really nothing you can do short of replacing or taking them off. It's also missing the charms on the front bow. Now, one of the biggest notes on the listing was the fact that there was a discoloration in the print. I don't know if I'm blind or just really lucky, because no matter how hard I looked, I could not find the discoloration anywhere. Anyway, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to wash this dress. It's a little musty smelling, almost like it's been in a closet. I'm going to remove a lot of the smaller bits. I'm not going to remove the main bow because it's big, it's the same fabric and it's sewn on, but I am going to detach the waist ties and I'm going to seam rip off the small bows because since they're crushed velvet, I don't want them to get ruined in the washer. I'm also going to be modifying all three of them in different ways. Something else I noticed is that all four buttons are very, very loose. I don't know if that's due to wear and tear or if that's literally just how they came, because certain angelic pretty dresses can come with very loose buttons, but I'm going to be reinforcing those as well. I'm going to be turning the dress inside out, putting it into a pillowcase, and throwing it in the wash on delicate and cold so that we get all those little nasty smells out, but we preserve the dress. Next up, we are modifying the velvet bows. I have this mint thread that I found that I think will match great. The seller actually gave me these cute little gold cutlery charms to attach to the bows. I am so thrilled that they did this. They didn't have to, but it was part of the listing. It was such a nice touch. So these are the little charms that they gave me. I have 4 as opposed to the original dresses 2. 2 of the big ones are going to go onto the main bow, but I did want to do something with these 2 little ones and decided to attach them to the top bodice bow. Originally, I wanted to do one on each tail, sort of mimicking the front bow, but I quickly realized that it would make the bows far too heavy. It would droop too much, so I decided to put them in the middle instead. Once my dress was done in the wash, we are hanging her up to dry along with her waist ties. In the meantime, it's time to tackle the deteriorating velveteen bows. This, I wasn't sure at first how I was going to go about this. I thought of replacing them all together, but realized very quickly that the bows are actually 2 pieces bound together, and it would be very easy to just seam rip out the tails, which are the damaged pieces, and to keep the bow loops instead. Next up, it's time to actually sew the bow into place. We're starting with the top bow. I was worried at first because upon further inspection, my mint thread ended up being a bit darker, but fortunately the velveteen sort of hid a lot of the stitching. So I just decided to go ahead and continue to use it. Now I did come across a problem that I didn't realize before the bow had been sewed on. I mean, the bow loops are perfectly even, but the bow tails ended up being one longer than the other. Because this was a solid piece, I couldn't undo it and just pull accordingly. I realized that I was going to have to actually do a little bit of minor surgery to kind of even these out. So the first thing I did was I seam ripped the end hems just so I would have as much fabric to work with as possible. After I cut them to length, very carefully, I used a lighter to singe off the ends to prevent fraying and further damage. This is, of course, where my camera ran out of battery and I ended up doing a bunch of stuff off screen. But, that being said, I am incredibly pleased with how it all came out. The charms are so perfect and the dress washed so beautifully. I am so incredibly excited to have this in my closet finally. And now all that's left to do is coordinate it.